Well, the long-awaited Dangote Refinery is completed and set for commissioning in Lagos for May 22, 2023 by President Muhammadu Buhari. With a refining capacity of 650,000 barrels of crude oil per day, the Dangote Refinery, when in full operations, is projected to be Africa's biggest oil refinery and the world's largest single-train refining facility, surpassing Saudi Aramco Mobile Refinery's refining capacity of 400,000 barrels of crude oil per day. The project, which has taken several years to come to fruition, will be a big relief to Nigerians, which have for decades relied on the importation of refined crude due to the inefficiency of Nigeria's refineries. What prospects does the refinery hold for the economy, consumers, and logistics industry in Nigeria? Bala Zakka is an oil and gas expert, and he's joining me virtually from Lagos, the commercial nerve center of the country. You're welcome to Business Express, Mr. Zakka.
Thank you.
It's so beautiful to see you this morning, and I'm hoping that the rains we enjoyed in Abuja yesterday into the night got to you in Lagos.
You are right. We're enjoying it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, fantastic. So to keen observers and experts in the oil and gas industry, the Dangote Refinery is coming to life at a very good time, you might say, considering where we're coming from. So what would you say are the economic imperatives?
The coming of or the crystallization or the commissioning of the Dangote Refinery, if it takes place next week, I can tell you this will be a positive milestone in the economic growth of Nigeria. It will be a positive milestone for the management of Dangote, for Nigeria, for the continent of Africa, and for the global oil and gas industry, especially the downstream. After the commissioning, we hope and pray to settle down and enjoy the derivatives.
So what role can the Dangote Refinery play in smoothing out Nigeria's supply chain, especially concerning petroleum products and their derivatives?
It is going to solve a lot of problems. First of all, even as Dangote Refinery, you're talking about a private initiative that is worthy of praise and emulation. You're talking about a private initiative that is going to address the energy needs of Nigeria, the West African sub-region, if they become supported, and by extension, the continent of Africa. I'm saying this because with the Dangote Refinery, the first thing that is going to happen is that the Dangote is going to get crude oil from Nigeria. So you're talking about the point of processing being very close to the point of getting raw materials. And once that comes into crystallization, the importation we are talking about, if there is a political will, importation should stop, because you cannot compare traveling miles away on the high seas, you know, the cost of vessels, the cost of insurance, the cost of security, to import products that you can get within the country. So to that extent, it's going to be positive for Nigeria. To a reasonable extent, it will also help Nigeria to conserve some foreign exchange. One thing again that is going to happen is, if Dangote is supported and we have more Dangotes, the government of Nigeria should help them to construct rail lines and pipelines across the West African sub-region. Before you know what's happening, we are going to be, Nigeria, the Dangotes will be those having depots across the West African sub-region. We are going to have our technicians working there. We are going to have our engineers, our accountants working there. And by extension, Dangotes and the equivalent of the Dangotes will control the regional economy. And remember, we are talking about Nigerian corporate bodies now. At the end of the day, they will comply with their civic responsibilities of paying taxes and levies, and that will help in boosting the revenues of Nigeria. So whichever way you look at it is going to be positive for Nigeria, this West African sub-region, and the continent of Africa.
I'm glad you're talking about the real lines now, and this is going to take me to my next question. Not too long ago, precisely May 8th of 2023, the Nigerian Association of Road Transport Owners, that is NATO, declared it was seeking funding from the federal government, also from the private sector, to scale up its operation to match the prospective demand for the haulage of petroleum products from the Dangote Refinery across the nation. Is this a gain for the country? And when we're talking logistics, do we still have to depend on the road infrastructure solely to transport these products to destinations in the country?
Not exactly. The pressure on our roads are not in the interest of Nigeria. But fortunately, the same outgoing regime, signed an act that approved the having of Chartered Institute of Transportation called CIOTA. So with that now, the different modes of transportations in Nigeria will now see a boost.
Oh, I think we've lost Mr. Zakka, but we'll get back
to have. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Very soon there will be a need for Nigeria to have rail and pipelines transport system encouraged. With that, we are going to free our roads of articulated vehicles. Because when you talk about refined petroleum products, and heavy trucks, all the gas and the liquid products should be moved using rail lines or pipelines. So that is also an initiative, and it is going to free our roads.
Now, Angola overtook Nigeria, as we found out recently, to emerge top African crude oil producer in the month of April. That is according to data from OPEC, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. And in that report, Angola recorded 1.06 million barrels per day of crude production within the month, and Nigeria recorded 999,000 barrels per day. This is the lowest production rate Nigeria has recorded from the beginning of this year. What are the attributable factors to these, and how do you see the refinery addressing this shortfall? Is the refinery going to play any role in addressing this shortfall?
Well, the inability of Nigeria to meet up with her OPEC quota and to come second behind Angola is very, very unfortunate, because the total crude oil reserve of Angola is less than 15 billion barrels. The total gas reserve of Angola is less than 15 trillion cubic feet. So for Nigeria to come second to Angola was a bit unfortunate, though we are happy for Angola. Angola is a fellow African country. But in the context of Nigeria, we need to do something about the business climate hostilities. And with that, Nigeria still has a lot to achieve for the continent and the global community or the energy world. Because our crude oil reserve, is in excess of 36 billion barrels. And our gas, of course, like everybody knows, just the proved gas reserve is in excess of 200 trillion cubic feet. And the potential is in excess of 600 trillion cubic feet. So with that alone, we expect that we are going to use our gas, get ammonia, get urea, get fertilizer, and boost food production. Fertilizer. We also hope that we are going to deploy our gas, drive gas turbines, and generate electricity. We also believe that by trying to go into cleaner fossil fuel, we will deploy our gas and come up with so many derivatives. But when you talk about refinery, Refinery has to do with liquid products, while petrochemicals has to do with other derivatives. The good thing about the Dangote refinery is that there will be so much that Nigeria is going to scoop. But we also need to make a distinction. Dangote refinery or Dangote is a refinery is a private initiative. They must have gotten the funds either from creditors, and if they got the funds from creditors, they need to pay what we call cost of debt. If they got the funds from shareholders, they need to pay what we call dividends. So we will expect Dangote to be profitable, to be able to meet up with their funding capacity. And another thing that people like me will advocate is this: please, in the interest of growth of our industries, because we need Dangotes in telecoms, we need Dangotes in health, we need Dangotes in education. Already we have Dangotes in banking sectors because many Nigerians are the owners of the banks. So what will really happen is this: there is a need for the government of Nigeria to protect our Dangote and encourage more Dangotes. And what I mean by that is this: once Dangote goes on stream, considering the amount of investment on land acquisition, compensation, the infrastructures, the staff they are going to employ, and the workers that will be there, the road construction and the rest, the pipelines and the rest, it will not be fair. After all this investment, then the government of Nigeria will be approving license to some people to import. Those people who have not made investment will be importing refined products, and at little margins, they will be doing well and they will frustrate Dangote. That is what I can say. But we also need to have it at the back of our minds that because Dangote is a private initiative, Dangote is likely to buy the crude oil at international price. So if Dangote will buy at international price, Dangote will sell at international price to the Nigerian market. But even with that, it's cheaper than importing. Even with that, it's better we patronize our own, because at the end of the day, the same Dangote will be paying taxes and levies to the Nigerian economy.
True.
Dangote will employ more Nigerians, and we are going to enjoy the derivatives. So from that angle, please, whoever God is going to crown to lead Nigeria in the next administration should have this at the back of their mind. You cannot have Dangotes making investment in telecoms, in banking, in education, in oil and gas industries, then you allow some other people to be importing products and frustrate our Dangotes. It will not be fair.
Definitely, that wouldn't be fair at all, and we're also hopeful at this end that it's going to get better as it comes upstream. Thank you so much, Mr. Bala Zakka, for always being there to throw light into issues concerning the energy sector in the country. Have a blessed day.
Yeah, thank you. Congratulations to Dangote. Congratulations to Nigeria. Congratulations to the West African sub-region, the continent of Africa, and the global downstream oil and gas industry.
Thank you, Mr. Zakka.